This is Life as an Outsider. I'm your host, Jake Schneider. Hey folks, Jake Schneider here, Life as an Outsider. I'm sitting here today in our first little kind of home studio episode with my very special guest, Elida Wiseman. Elida, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
We also want to thank you for bringing us some very delicious looking cookies. So what did you bring today?
I brought you some chocolate chip cookies and then a chocolate wafer made with our dark chocolate ganache.
That sounds amazing. I got to have one of these. All right. You get to see for the first time our cameraman, Tyler. Tyler, come here and grab one of these. Tyler's like never in front of the camera.
Thank you.
Nope. Got to try it on. We got to see it. Yeah. I just iced you with a cookie.
Thank you.
Oh, these are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad you like them.
So tell us, what is the company that you own?
So my company's name is Always Baked Sweets and Treats. I do infusions. So I work with local wineries, breweries, and distilleries in Iowa. I take their products and put it to my baked goods. We do beer and cupcake pairings, wine cupcake pairings, cocktail cupcake pairings all around town.
That's really cool. So, I mean, were those infused with anything?
No.
Well, it was really funny when I was talking with Tyler first. He goes, Always Baked. I mean, what are we talking with Always Baked? Like,
Listen, that is for the future. It's not legal in Iowa yet, but it is for the future.
yeah, we were like, is this a cookie shop? I mean, the right cookies will make you feel like you're floating on something.
Yes.
What kind of got you into this line of work?
So I've always loved baking. I started baking when I was about 8 years old. Always enjoyed it. This was actually just a passion of mine that turned into a business, and I never expected that. My husband and I actually lost our jobs in 2019. Both of us at the same time. We had employees as well because we were contractors for a company. The company filed for bankruptcy and shut down, so we lost our jobs right away. And this was July 2019. And then the holidays came around. We didn't have a job for about 2 months after that, so looking for work, started a job. And around the holidays, I'd always make my friends' family baked goods for the holidays. And I always enjoyed that. 2019, I couldn't do it because I just started a new job. I was working about 60 hours a week, couldn't, do it. And they offered to pay me. And I felt really weird accepting money from family and friends for baked goods.
Right, yeah.
That previously always made them. My husband and I had a conversation. He's like, hey, I know you don't like that, but it's going to help us during the holidays. And so I just went ahead and did it. And I had about 30 orders.
Oh, wow.
For the holidays. And then January came around and I had a birthday cake for a friend of mine that was down at Roca. So I did a birthday cake for her, dropped it off. They shared it with the staff and the manager there. They absolutely loved everything. And then they wanted to bring it in, because that's what they do. And I'm like, I just started. I didn't even have business cards at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this like a little side hustle. And then in February, beginning of February, I got a phone call and emails from Twisted Vine Brewery. And I honestly thought they were trying to get a hold of someone else. So I kept sending them to someone else. They wanted to do a cupcake and beer pairing. And again, I didn't know that they knew anything about me. I didn't have business cards even at that point. I had no business cards, so I just made some generic ones. We did a pairing for Valentine's Day, and I was just supposed to drop off the cupcakes to them to have their pairing, and it was supposed to go from 5 to 11. I got there at 2 to deliver it, and there was a huge line all the way to outside.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, you guys busy? They're like, no, they're waiting for you. So I was like, okay, this is just crazy. And we sold out by 9 p.m. out of
Holy
everything
cow.
that they had, yeah. So that was pretty awesome. And then our next event with them was supposed to be in March 17th when everything got shut down, 2020. So literally everything got shut down. I made 18 dozen Irish car bomb cupcakes, which is one of our boozy cupcakes. It's a chocolate cupcake with a Jameson ganache filling and a Bailey's whipped frosting. And we infused their beer into the cake. Wow. So I made 18 dozen. They called me 11 a.m. saying, hey, event's canceled. Everything's been shut down. I'm like, what are we going to do now? I have 18 dozen cupcakes just sitting around. They said, we're going to do a curbside pickup and see what happens. I completely sold out in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. on curbside. So
That's amazing.
yeah, and so I just thought, okay, well, it lasted that long. It was great. That's it. But no, business just started skyrocketing. Everybody was at home, working from home. People loved sweets. We had where you can order your stuff on our website. We dropped it off to your door. You get an email or a text message and letting you know it's there. So
Yeah, that curbside and that home delivery, that really kind of revolutionized a lot of businesses, especially during COVID.
oh yeah.
So where does the name Always Baked come from then?
I always say everything's always baked with love.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to be Always Baked with Love. And my husband said, no, that's too long of a name. So he decided Always Baked. And we were just Always Baked for about a couple months. And I'm like, people keep asking me if I have infused goods, which I did, but not those kind of infused.
Right.
And so I put Always Baked Sweets and Treats, hoping it'd change a little bit. Like I said, we do want to do infusions later on if it becomes legal in Iowa.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that is a plan.
That's awesome to hear. And your treats are delicious. I'm not just BSing you. Like, I have
Thank
had
you.
a lot of chocolate chip cookies. This is a body built by chocolate chip cookies and pizza, and they are very good. So thank you very much for bringing those.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What kind of inspired you to get into baking? You said it was always a hobby of yours.
Yes, my mom and my grandma. I have 4 sisters, and so when I was little, I'm the only one who in my family who bakes, other than my mom, and my grandma did. But when my sisters would go outside and play, I would be in the kitchen with my mom and grandma just baking, cooking. I was just intrigued by it. I loved it. So instead of going outside and playing with them, I'd be inside baking.
There's something special about baking with mom and grandma. There really
There
is.
yeah.
I love both my grandmas. One of them, she's from Arkansas, makes a fantastic pecan pie. There's about 4 pounds of butter in it every single year, but it's amazing. It's butter and corn syrup. That's basically all it is.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good. There's something special about
Yeah.
that, like making Christmas cookies with them. And I give my dad a little bit of grief every now and then because his mom, we did Thanksgiving at their place one year, and his mom just ordered everything from Schwann's because she never had that. She never had that baking with other people growing up. And yeah, there's just something special about that, being able to bake with the parental figures in your
Yeah.
life. And I ran into that with Beth from Pints by Beth as well.
Yeah.
She made ice cream with her family, and look where she is. So yeah, there's something special about that.
Yeah. So my story kind of goes back a little bit further than that. I'm Bosnian.
Mm-hmm.
I came from Bosnia at age 6 during the war. So when the war was happening, my mom used to bake and cook for us, and we would actually hide out for about a year and a half before we actually came out here. But when we came here, that was like a more bonding experience for me. I had a lot of nightmares and bad experiences from when the war was happening. So those memories took over the bad ones pretty much, and that helped me.
It's almost like some sort of progressive therapy almost, where you're literally baking therapy.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And it brings me to a good mood every single time. So anytime I'm going through something or anything's happening in my life, I bake, and it just helps me.
Well, and especially when you realize, like, I've taken eggs and I've taken oil and flour. I made this.
Yeah.
I made this cake. I made these cupcakes. I made these cookies out of random things that by themselves aren't all that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something special about that.
But you combine them, and the look on people's face, just enjoying them, just makes my heart, happy. And that's what it's about.
Absolutely. That impact on that community. I mean, we were talking about that a little bit before we started, where I always make sure to talk about community. And I mean, we talked about the beginning of 2020 where COVID shut everything down. I mean, I remember that. My birthday's March 10th.
Yeah.
So I remember that. And that's St. Patrick's Day. For people that don't know, 3/17, St. Patrick's Day, world shut down. And from what it sounds like, you were having an impact on the community. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sold out of cupcakes in 45 minutes.
It was amazing.
That's really cool to hear. What kind of brought about the idea of the infusion?
So Twisted Vine, when they reached out to me, again, I didn't know that they knew who I was. I went to have a meeting with them, and I brought cupcakes in for them to try out because a few of the owners were going to be there. And then they had a whole table full of samples for me to try out, and we just started discussing, hey, what if I put this into my baked goods? And it's in the fillings and frosting, so it does not bake out.
Gotcha.
So you're actually tasting their beers and liquor and wine. And yeah, so that was the first time I actually infused things. And it came out amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, two of my favorite things, beer and sweets. Like, you
Can't
beat
go
that.
wrong.
I did something very similar when I was in high school, except it wasn't beer. Statute of limitations probably hasn't passed. It was not beer. It was Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And doing fun stuff like that, it's so unique too.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
And so, what cupcake goes really well with different types of beer? I mean, you've got your porters, you've got your hoppy IPAs, you've got your lagers. How do you kind of figure that out?
So the porters, you want something dark chocolate, like more savory than sweet, because you get that little bitterness. So it'll bring out the flavor of it. The blonde ales, you're gonna want like vanilla or fruity flavors. It just kind of depends on what kind of beer you're having. We have a whole variety of cupcakes. So if you have a favorite beer that you like, we can infuse that into any cupcake. We're currently working with Iowa Distilling Company. We've done events with them before.
Awesome.
But we're actually doing an event with them in July where we're going to have cupcakes and cocktails, but you're going to actually make your own. Like, you're going to decorate your own cupcakes, and then you're going to have the cocktails to pair with them.
Iowa Distilling Company. They're the ones down in
Cumming, Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So they have the Saints and Sinners, right?
Yes.
Are you doing
Yep.
anything with that?
We have done stuff with them before, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it comes out amazing.
That stuff's so good.
It's so sweet already, and so you're not actually like tasting. You're feeling great.
Exactly. It's almost like Red Hots.
Yeah.
But better than Fireball, because Fireball's just
Yeah.
too syrupy, and you're also supporting local at the same
Yes,
time. So
exactly.
Support local and then black out on Saints. And I'm not advising that. What are some of the favorite infusions that you've done so far?
So I am not a huge wine person. I know that I shouldn't probably say that, but I work with a lot of wineries in Iowa, and my cupcakes, when I take their wine and I put it into my baked goods, the flavors are just so prominent there. They taste amazing. Like, makes me want to drink wine. I'll actually enjoy a glass of wine with my cupcakes. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably one of my favorite.
Yeah. Are there any, like, are you talking reds or whites?
Whites.
Yeah.
I'm not a red person.
Yeah. That's fair. Reds are hard to get into a little bit.
They're a little more bitter for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of bitter.
Yeah, they are definitely more flavor forward. You're definitely getting hit in the face with a red when you're drinking a glass of wine.
Exactly. Same with beers. I can do light beers. Mm-hmm. I can't do any dark beers.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. I 100% get that. You've mentioned a few times how your husband has been a part of that process.
Yes.
How you have to have a support system. So how has he impacted your business and just kind of keeping you grounded?
So Alex actually, like I said, he came up with the name technically, Always Baked. And then he comes up with a lot of fun flavors for me. He's my taste tester through everything. He loves it. But yeah, he'll taste everything for me and let me know what needs to be changed or, what's really good. He's the backbone of the business pretty much. All the nitty gritty stuff that I'm not a huge fan of. Mm-hmm. I'm the face of the company. I love people. I'm a people person. I do a lot of events. So we do the downtown farmers market. We do Bonnery and Ankeny Grimes. We do a lot of big events, pop-ups all around the state. And I love doing that. And he's not a huge fan of being with people. He's just not a people person. He can talk to people. It's not his forte. But yeah, he does everything in the background. And he's my support. I mean, when I have long days and when I'm going through things, he's my full-on support there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It really does help to have that support system. And I can't imagine going through what had to have been just a huge trial in COVID without a support system.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how you kind of started with Twisted Vine and doing that curbside. Where did it go from there?
So we went from doing that to, all of our events got canceled that year. Any pop-up event, any event that we had with any company got canceled, but the community supported us. Everybody ordered. I mean, we got, God, I don't even know how many orders, but we had probably about 30 to 50 orders a week from the community. And then when everything started reopening again, we got in communication with Somerset Winery and Jasper Winery and Iowa Distilling Company and Prairie Moon and all these places that we just started doing all these events with again, and it just brought the community together. Like, most of our ingredients comes from local companies already here in Iowa. We get our honey from Cumming, Iowa. We get our flour from Dallas Center. We have all these things that we get, and they're local. We try to do as much local as we can.
That's definitely the right way to do it, in my personal opinion. I mean, you're supporting other people when you're supporting your own business. And whether people realize it or not, by supporting you, they're supporting all these other businesses. And I think that's one thing that's so special about Iowa and about supporting small business in general is now, especially now, people are realizing that by supporting one, you're probably supporting about a dozen different small businesses. So what events do you have going on during the summer?
So this summer, we were back at the farmer's market. I actually took a few weeks off. I had surgery. So it took a few weeks off, but we're back at the downtown farmer's market June 24th. We are going to be back at the Iowa World Food and Music Festival this summer.
Awesome.
We are doing a lot of events with a lot of different places. So we're just really excited to get back out there and just continue doing what we do. And I love it.
No, you don't have a storefront currently.
No storefront yet. We're still working on that.
Yeah. Is that something that's in the future?
Oh, absolutely. We've been actually looking for a place for about a year and a half now. Yeah.
It's hard to find places right
It is.
now. Just in general. Is there like a certain area that you're looking for, or really anywhere in the Des Moines metro?
Honestly, we wanted to stay small. Mm-hmm. We did look in Polk City, but it's so limited. Mm-hmm. You know, I live in Polk City, so that's my favorite place. And it's between the two lakes, and it's a great location. It's small, and it's so hard to find a place. Mm-hmm. But we're not opposed to going, Des Moines or Ankeny or Grimes, Urbandale. We're not opposed to any of that. It's just really hard to find a place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. With how much those places are growing. Even Tyler lives in Grimes, and he's talking about how there's just something new getting put up there basically every week.
Every week.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. So as you've continued to grow your business during COVID, coming out of COVID, now you don't have to do those curbside pickups anymore. Now you don't have to do those home deliveries. So how did that kind of shape your business post-COVID?
I mean, we don't have to do them, but a lot of people still prefer that. Mm-hmm. People still order from us. We still deliver to their houses or businesses. We have great, our community is amazing. I used to work at Walmart when COVID was going on. Mm-hmm. That was the job I started. And I've actually been doing this about 2 years full-time now, just baking. And they're actually one of my huge customers.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I do their birthday cakes. I do their anniversary cakes for all their employees. So it's amazing. Yeah.
That must have felt really good to be able to build that connection, and then now that's morphed into building your business as well.
It's amazing.
That is one of the most unique things. I will always get on a soapbox when it comes to talking about small businesses. I always will. Because that's one of the unique things. We were talking about it. You get to support so many people, and building those connections. I think of the people that I've had on here. I mean, I would love to see you do something with Red Dragon as well, because I'm like... chai tea cupcake sounds amazing.
We'll let Mary know.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, she's going to be coming into Polk City here sometime soon.
She's actually there already.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She just got into her building there.
That's awesome.
We were looking at the same space as she was. I told her that.
No hard feelings, Mary. We love you. We're drinking your tea right now. But the idea of just supporting one small business, supporting all these small businesses, building these connections. I mean, so many people. I had no idea you were connected to Mary. She was one of my first guests, and I mean, there's that. She sells her stuff at one of my other guests, and she sells. It's just so cool to see all those. A lot
of us small business owners actually know each other or know of each other and communicate, even if it's in person. We do on social media.
What do you think that has done for your businesses?
It has helped us grow a lot. I mean, you have customers that don't know about somebody else, and you're reaching all of these new people all the time. You don't even have to be at an event. If you post something small, just, a shout out to somebody, it's going to make a huge difference. Mm-hmm. So I think it's amazing. And back to the storefront, we would love a storefront. The biggest obstacle we have right now is I'm one person. Yeah. I do everything on my own. I mean, I do have people to help me at events and, the farmers markets and things like that. But when it comes to baking and coming up with new recipes and everything, it's just me.
Yeah.
And if we have a storefront, I can hire all the people I need to hire and be able to get all the people that want our baked goods all the time when they want it. Mm-hmm. Right now, again, you can order it and you can either pick up or us deliver it, but I don't have something that's just sitting there waiting for people to come in. And people always request that.
Yeah. That is one of the hardest parts about doing something where you're providing a physical product that you have to manufacture, whether it's computer boards or cookies. You have to manufacture those, and it can be hard to hire somebody on, I imagine, when you're like, this is what I love doing. How can I give this to somebody else? What has been one of the most difficult things of being a small business owner, mid/post COVID?
Ooh. Mental health. Honestly.
Seriously.
Like I said, my husband is the backbone of everything, and he is my shoulder to cry on and my rock and everything else in between. But honestly, I'm out there and I will be up at 2 a.m. till, 10, 11 a.m. until I have to go to an event. I'm constantly baking. I'm constantly on my feet. Having the support, that's been the biggest obstacle. Other than my husband, it's hard. You do have family, you do have friends, you do have the community, but ultimately it's you. Mm-hmm. So that's been a huge obstacle.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that support system, whether that's, in your case, your spouse. Yeah. So whether that's your spouse or whether that's your close family or friends. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this without Tyler. I mean, we were just,
pretty awesome.
We ran into a snag earlier today with something that was going on. I'm like, I can't talk to anybody else about this. Well, yeah. One, because of privacy, but also two, nobody else understands it.
Yeah.
And so it is really impactful, whether people realize it or not, to have that community, to have that core support system.
Yeah. Another big obstacle we've had to overcome, honestly, after COVID is the increased prices of all the ingredients.
Oh, I can imagine.
Things skyrocketed.
I got a Little Caesars pizza. They used to be $5, $9 for a hot and ready.
I mean, it's the same exact product. The same exact product.
Exactly.
Nothing's changed except the price. I mean, we went from having cream cheese for, $4 to almost $9. The same thing. Butter from $7 to $14. And I mean, that's a huge impact on a small business, especially. I didn't raise any of my prices. My prices stayed the same. Even to this day, I'm still hoping things will start dropping back down. Because I honestly feel like my prices are at a good point, and my customers wouldn't be paying for it if they didn't think that.
Right.
But the thing is if they continue to increase, I'm going to have to increase.
Exactly.
I have to make money.
Exactly. That's such a hard part of it, too. Yeah. It's figuring out the prices. I mean, like, the closest thing I have to think about is doing t-shirts, like figuring out, okay, well, if I'm getting it for this much, but I'm also selling, because I do have podcast costs to cover, like, at what point, if I get them all for cost, well, then I'm footing the bill for half of it. And that's really hard. As we kind of wrap up, that kind of sounds like a sour note to wrap up on. It's like, this sucks. This is hard. Raising prices.
I mean, it's not, the business has been great. It's just having to communicate with your customers, and clients, and letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's been going on. I haven't raised anything. I will let people know if I have to raise any of my prices, because it is a business. I want to continue doing this, but the only way I can continue doing this is if I'm actually making money.
Right. Exactly. And I think so many people are a lot more lenient towards small businesses because they know it's like, oh, I'm not putting money in some big corporation's pocket. Yeah. They're doing this because they have to survive.
Because they're supporting small. And that's a huge thing. I mean, even during COVID, all the businesses that shut down because of the impact it made, it made me sad. I don't want to shut down. I don't want to do something else. I absolutely love doing this. I love seeing the joy on people's faces when they eat something or, when they talk to somebody else about it. My business, I have not advertised anything. Everything has been word of mouth. We're down at the farmer's market. And I always say it's a great thing and it's kind of a crappy thing. I'm there from 7 a.m. to noon. And no matter how much product I make, I'm always sold out by 10 a.m. So again, it's great to sell out, but then I'm sitting there for 2 hours with nothing to sell.
Right.
So it's a good and a bad thing. But yeah, it's just, it's hard some days, but I wouldn't change it. I love it. I love doing this.
That's a lot better note to end on than sitting here saying, well, this sucks. We just raised our price. As we do start to wrap up, we're talking about being on the farmer's market. How else can we support you and kind of keep in touch, see what you're doing?
I mean, you can always visit our Facebook or Instagram. It's Always Baked DSM, or our website, alwaysbakeddsm.com. We always have all of our products on there. Like I said, we're going to be at the World Food and Music Festival. And if you cannot support physically by buying something, either products or merchandise or anything like that, just post about it. Comment on us, on our posts, like our posts. That makes a huge impact. And people don't realize that. People will scroll through and be like, oh, okay, they'll see things, but they're not actually posting on it or commenting on it or liking or sharing. That makes a huge, huge difference for small businesses. It gets the word out. People don't even know us. I mean, I just did Waukee Palooza in Waukee at Kinship Brewing.
I love Kinship.
They're amazing. I've done a few events with
Love
them.
Zach.
Yeah.
He was on my podcast too.
So, but the thing is so many people in Waukee have never heard of us. And we've been around. We just celebrated 3 years in November. So we've been around for a while and nobody really knows in that area, you know? So it makes a big difference when people post about it or if we're out there and people see us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, folks, post about small businesses.
Yeah.
Share the love for small businesses. I mean, that's key. That's how I'm getting around. Is I'm not doing any advertising. It's all word of mouth, and it's all I'm having great people on who are willing to talk about their business and share the love of entrepreneurship with each other.
Exactly. Because if you want to see these businesses around for a long time, you got to do what you got to do, even if it's a small little part like that.
Exactly. 100%. Well, I have one final question to ask you. Out of everything that you've made so far or that you continue to make, if somebody's looking at their website like, I don't know what to get because all these options sound good, do you have any recommendations for like, this is my favorite?
Ooh, okay. So my Bailey's salted caramel cupcakes are my favorites.
I wish it wasn't so hot right now because,
I know. I really wish I would have been able to bring you guys some cupcakes. I will have to bring you some next time. But no, it's seriously. We have 57 flavor combinations right now, and that's not including the infusions.
Wow.
Yes. So, I mean, I love chocolate. I'm a chocolate girl. So my triple chocolate, chocolate Kahlua are some of my favorites. But yeah, you can get, and we do gluten-free, dairy-free, and sugar-free products as well.
That's
so
awesome.
If you have, some kind of allergy or something like that, we can work towards that. We can work around whatever you have, and we can do that. And another fun fact is our business. So average bakeries use between 9 to 15 cups of sugar per batch, and that's either one cake or 24 to 32 cupcakes. Right? We never use more than a cup and a half. And you're actually tasting that. People taste the flavor versus the sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Now a lot of things just kind of started making sense there for a second.
No, that's why you feel, when you're eating sweets, you're like, ooh, it tastes really good, but then you're feeling lousy afterwards.
9 to 15 cups.
9 to 15 cups per batch. Yes.
And I thought I overdid it sometimes. Like, holy cow.
I said that once at a wedding show I did, and the girl's like, oh, no, there's no way. And her aunt's sitting next to her. She's like, she was a baker for years. She's like, oh, no, we do. And then she tastes my stuff. She's like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, there is something special about that homemade, that good flavor. When I worked at an Austrian bakery / restaurant, there was just something different about those cakes. And oh man, I miss that place. But well, we do have to wrap up. This has been really fun. This has really been a treat, pun intended. Elida, thank you very much for being on. One more time, can you kind of shout out your social media handles and make sure that we know how to follow you?
Yep, we're on Instagram and Facebook, Always Bake DSM, and then our website is alwaysbakedsm.com.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Elida. Thank you very much for taking the time to be on this podcast and be an outsider with me and Tyler. And also, thanks for the cookies. Seriously, we don't get people bringing us cookies a whole lot. So if you're listening, I don't care if you're a baker or not. Bring us cookies, and we're happy to support you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in.